This video is about simplifying cube roots. In order to do that, we must understand first what are the cube numbers. The cube numbers are 1, 8, 27, 64, 125, and so on. Where do they come from? This number 1 comes from 1 cube. Number 8 comes from 2 to the third power, or 2 cube. 27 is 3 to the third power, and similarly 64 is 4 to the third power, 125 5 to the third power, right? And this continues. You may get more cube numbers as needed, but for now this cube number should be enough. We're gonna work with either 8, 27, 64, 125. The number 1 is useless, so don't worry about that. Okay, now steps to simplify a cube root whenever it is not exact. Step number 1 says factor the radicand as the multiplication of a cube number times some other number. The radicand is this number under the radical. So you gotta factor this number using any of these cube numbers that you see here. Step number 2, simplify, right? Once you do that, you simplify and then you show your answer as usual in simplified form. Okay, so now before I go ahead with this example, let me mention here a property that we're gonna need, especially when we deal with cube roots of variables raised to some powers. So property here. The cube root of x to the n is equal to x to the n over 3. The exponent gets divided by the index 3. Quick example for you to understand this. Example, suppose they say compute the cube root of x to the 12. What is the cube root of x to the 12? Well, that's going to be, according to this nice property, x to the 12 divided by 3. Notice the exponent gets divided by the index 3. And of course, 12 divided by 3 is 4, so final answer should be just x to the 4, right? So recall this, remember this for the examples that are coming next. Alright, so let's go ahead with example 1. Example 1 says simplify the cube root of 32. 32 is not a cube number, right? So therefore this is not going to be exact, so we need to follow the steps to simplify this. So that step number 1 says factor the radicand using cube numbers. So what does that mean? Well, you gotta break this down, this number 32, using one of these cube numbers. You gotta ask yourself, which of these cube numbers goes into 32 evenly? Clearly that number is 8, right? So we write 8 here first, times what? What number multiplied by 8 will give us 32? That number clearly is 4, right? So 32 divided by 8, 4. And well, next, after you do this, you simply use the distributive property for cube roots. Take the cube root of each of these two factors independently. Cube root of 8 is just the number 2. Cube root of 4 is not exact, so you should leave it as cube root of 4. Okay, then you're looking at the final answer because this is in simplified form. That's it. Okay, good. So now let's see more examples. Let's take a look at example number 2. This time they want you to simplify cube root of 27 times x to the 11. Notice there is a variable attached to the number, right? So now, solution. When you look at this number 27, remember that cube numbers are 1, 8, 27, 64, and so on, right? We notice right away that 27 is a cube number, so we don't need to break this number down, right? We don't need to factor this because its cube root will be exact. However, this part, x to the 11, is not going to be exact because the number 11, when divided by 3, is not exact, right? So we got to break this down. So here we're going to write cube root of 27, stays the same, right? But this guy, x to the 11, has to be written as the multiplication of two powers of x. The exponents here, there must be cleverly chosen. For that, you have to do this division, 11 divided by 3. You gotta figure out how many 3's go into 11. How many 3's goes into 11? 3. 3 times 3 is 9, with a remainder of 2. Now, the remainder is very important because the remainder is precisely what you're gonna write here, x squared. Now, what exponent you write here? Well, you're multiplying these two. You want to get x to the 11 as a result, so the sum of whatever you write here plus 2 should be 11. So, therefore, this number should be 11 minus 2, which is just 9, right? 9. So, that's how you get this number. Okay, now, simply organize this. Right up front, the stuff that has exact cube root. 27 has exact cube root, write it up front. X to the 9 also have exact cube root in the sense that 9 is divisible by 3, right? 3 goes evenly into 9, so this would be exact. And the stuff that is not perfect cube, this, write it at the end. Stuff that doesn't have exact cube root, write it at the end, this way. Now, take the cube roots separately, independently, right? So, cube root of 27 is just 3. Cube root of this guy, x to the 9, remember the formula that I presented to you at the beginning? It's just x to the 9 divided by 3. Remember, the exponent gets divided by the index, right? So, this is that. And now, this part does not have exact cube root, so you should write it as cube root of x squared. Now simplify. 3 times x raised to 9 divided by 3 is just 3. And this part stays the same, cube root of x squared. Okay. And there you are looking at the final answer. Good. Let's move to the next example. Example number 3, simplify the cube root of 16 times y raised to the 14th power. This time, this number 16 is not a perfect cube, right? So it means that we're gonna simplify this by breaking this number 16 down or factoring it. So using cube numbers, we're gonna ask ourselves what cube number goes into 16. The answer to the question is 8. 8 goes into 16 evenly, so we're going to write 8 here times some other number. What's the other number? Well, clearly it has to be 2, right? For 8 times 2 to be 16, right? Now, the number 14 is not divisible by 3. 14 divided by 3 is not exact, so we're going to break this down to y times y, and the exponents here, they have to be chosen carefully, right? Cleverly. So for that we do this division. 14 we divide it by 3. How many 3's go into 14? 4. 4 times 3 is 12 with a remainder 2. Remainder is important because it's the exponent of this guy 2. And now to complete this 14 via this multiplication, what you need is 14 minus 2, 12. 12 here, right? 12. So this is how you break this down. Now, organize this. This is cube root, right? Don't forget the cube root. Organize this. Cube root of, first up front, write the stuff that has exact cube root, 8, and then y raised to 12, right? Exact cube root. stuff that doesn't have exact cube root, write it at the end. Look, this number 2 at the end, y squared at the end. Alright, now time to take cube roots. Cube root of this part, cube root of 8 is just 2. Cube root of y to the 12th should be y raised to 12 divided by 3. Remember the nice property I explained to you at the beginning? To divide the exponent by the index, 3. And this part, since this doesn't have exact cube root, just stays as cube root of 2y squared. Now finally just simplify 2 here. 12 divided by 3 is just 4. And this stays as cube root of 2 times y squared. Okay, so now we're looking at the final answer here. Good.